Hey everyone, this is Dr. Polito again. Welcome to week 7. We're going to be doing a factor analysis in SPSS. Now I'm going to divide this up into two videos. The first one I'm just going to walk you through the steps of doing the factor analysis using the example in the book. And the second video I'm going to walk you through the interpretation of it. The interpretation of these data is a little bit more tricky, so I'm going to go ahead and take my time and explaining it to you on the second video. So the first video, I'm going to walk you through the steps in the book and clear up a little bit of a misunderstanding, because I know in the book the author says select all the variables that have to do with self-concept from APPSC1 to Pearce C4, and then when you look at the variables, you don't see those names. Look on the screen here; these are the names, but the way that they are listed in the variable for you to select is under label. So a lot of students are looking for these and they don't find it, and that's because they're listed by this, the one I'm shaking the indicator on. Okay, so for factor analysis, now going to more explanation of what it is in the second video. Let's go to analyze, dimension reduction, factor. Okay, and as you can see, I already put all the variables that have to do with self-concept onto the right side. Okay, so to make it clearer, if you want to know exactly which one of those variables it is, look on page 206. There are 28 variables listed there, from the one on top being like my body, and then followed by am good at sports, all the way down to other kids want me to be their friend. So if you hover over these, you can see the full label of that variable. So all those 28 go in there, okay? So that's very confusing for a lot of students because the book isn't very clear as to which ones you select, but hopefully that made sense. They're all listed on page 206. Okay, all right, so from there, then you go to options. Make sure it's ticked off to sorted by size. Okay, continue, and then go to rotation, and I'll explain in the second video what rotation is. Okay, you want this one direct oblique, okay, and then hit OK, and continue, and then OK. And this is the sort of thing that you're going to get out, okay, these tables. So hopefully you can follow these steps and make sure that you have these exact same numbers. These are the ones that are in the book, okay? So you can look at this first one. It says communalities, and make sure that they're the same ones that are in the book. The second one lists all the variables that you put in there, the 28, and then we'll talk about what this means. You know, these are the most important ones, the first 7 ones. These are the eigenvalues right here, and we'll talk about what that is. In the book it explains it, but in the next video I'm going to show you what that means. And then down here it'll tell you, here are the 7 variables that are listed here from 1 to 7. These are the ones 1 to 7 going across, and this tells you how well they load. Okay, and so we'll go into that a little bit more detail on the next video. So for this video, try to do exactly what I did here, and try to get the exact same numbers that I got. And these numbers are the exact same ones that are in the book. So run it, look at your book, make sure you got the right numbers, and then you're good to go. So I encourage you to go ahead and let me get this out of the way. I want to encourage you to go ahead and make your own data. There were 28 variables here. You may not want to do that many. If you look at them, they were all ordinal. All the ones that you put in there were ordinal, and you know, kind of like the results of some sort of like a survey. So you can create, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 different variables from, you know, surveys, and you know, like, you know, which is the best store, or you know, the characteristics of a dog or a pet, you know, that kind of thing. And what you're trying to see if they load up on each other as factors to, well, I'm getting ahead of myself, so I'll explain that in the second one. But feel free to use the example in the book. If you get really bogged down in making your own example, go ahead and use the example in the book. As long as you can get the same numbers and explain the numbers, I'm okay, and I'll give you full credit. But try to develop your own. Try to develop different columns of different ordinal data, and and try to have them be like the same theme. Like this example is self-concept. These were all the results of this survey that was done, that had to do with the idea of self-concept. So you load it up and try to determine factors from it. Okay, and again, that'll be in the second video. Okay, so let me stop here, and then I'll try to explain the output a little bit more carefully.